Today we're going to be taking a look at 75382 TIE Interceptor. The set just released on May 1st, 2024 with 1,931 pieces and a retail price of $230, which is actually surprisingly a $10 markdown from the $240 UCS X-Wing from last year. And as you guys might know, this set is part of celebrating the 25th anniversary of LEGO Star Wars, hence the 25th anniversary logo at the top right corner of the box. Also with the bright metallic blue stripe at the bottom, which I think looks really good. On the left side of the box, you're going to have a nice clean render of the set from a top-down view, and then on the back of the box you're going to have another render of the set at a different angle, as well as some pictures showing its play features, an image of the battle over Endor from Return of the Jedi, and a small diagram that shows its dimensions. Now actually digging into the box and opening it up, on the inside you're going to find 22 separately numbered bags, as well as your instruction manual and a very big sticker sheet inside this cardboard case, and then the printed plaque, which I will touch on more later. On the front of the instruction manual you're going to have a top-down view render of the ship, and then in typical UCS set fashion, in the first few pages you're going to have a pretty interesting read about the actual ship and about the LEGO set itself, with the first few pages being some background about the TIE Interceptor with some really awesome artwork, as you can see here, especially there on the left, and then it notes the original version of the UCS TIE Interceptor from back in 2000 and the same designer that designed both of these sets 24 years apart. Then some info about this specific model and a page that's again like the UCS X-Wing showing us how we're supposed to hold the set. Then you're going to have your 25th anniversary art as well as advertising for the book, and then straight from there you're going to jump straight into your building process. Here we have the one lone minifigure in this set, being the TIE pilot, and he looks just about as high quality as a UCS minifigure should look. He's got great printing on the front and the back, and then obviously he has arm printing. Unfortunately I don't have the TIE pilot from the 2015 TIE Fighter, or I would compare the two, but just know that this one looks very solid, just like you would expect for a UCS minifigure. And accompanying him is actually a mouse droid, which looks good. I mean, it's just a pretty simple mouse droid, but I think it's a bit unnecessary, which I will touch on more later. Now here's the actual UCS TIE Interceptor itself, and I have to say, for the most part, it looks really good. It's a very good display piece, like a UCS set should be, and I also really like the position that it sits at on the stand, because it's kind of a nod to the original UCS TIE Interceptor from 2000. Now, like I said, the set does look good for the most part, but my main issues, like everyone else, is around the cockpit area. Yes, there's gaps, but I'll get to those in a second. My main problem is that the wing pylons themselves are a bit too tall, or in other words, they come up to the very top of the cockpit when they're not supposed to. If you look at actual reference images of the TIE Interceptor, you can very clearly see that the wing pylons don't go all the way to the top of the actual ball of the cockpit, and on this set they do, and it kind of makes it just look a bit lumpy and off to me. Again, like on the reference photos, the cockpit and the wing pylons look like two separate pieces, with the cockpit almost being a perfect sphere, but in this model it all looks like one piece because the wing pylons are just too tall and it doesn't look that great. The whole center area generally just looks like one big lump. And then, like I said, yes, there are a few gaps at the top and the bottom of the windscreen, which are noticeable, but they're not near as big of an issue, to me at least, as the wing pylons are. But shaping aside, the actual detailing on this middle area is extremely well done. As you can see here on the front, there's actually controller pieces on each side to just add some detail, as well as the two middle laser cannons, which actually have red transparent pieces just barely sticking out of them, which I think is really awesome because it semi-simulates that it's actually firing its lasers. And then, if you couldn't tell already, yes, that windscreen is a printed piece. You're also going to have some very well done detailing on the back of the model too, with two Technic cylinder pieces back here that are supposed to represent the twin ion engines themselves, and then on top you're going to have a printed hatch piece that looks really good, like you'd expect. And of course it can fold open, and despite the hatch being printed, the interior is not printed. As you can see here, it's very complex and detailed, yet polluted with stickers. They do make for great detail and a really cool looking interior, but the actual building process was just such a pain and very tedious to do this, and I don't appreciate it for a UCS set. Anyways, that aside, if you want, you can try to put your TIE pilot in here, but after all, it is a oversized UCS set, so there's really no point, and if you do put him in here, he is pretty hard to get back out. The actual connection points of the pylons to the wings looks very nice. It's very detailed, and I think they did a great job, and there's also just a lot of detail on the inside of the wings in general. As you can see here, they really went out of their way to make this very detailed, when I would have expected them to just leave it as the bottom of the plates. The targeting sensors look really good as well. As you can see here, they actually use shovel pieces, which I think is really unique and adds for awesome detail. And then the main laser cannons on the tips of the wings look very good too. I think they're designed very well, and I always love how on these TIE Interceptors the laser cannons just barely stick out from the edge of the wing. It just looks cool to me. And then continuing on with the wings, of course course, the outsides of them just look very, very good. I mean, I'm sure we all love the TIE Interceptor for its really iconic wing shape, and LEGO just blew it out of the water here. It looks just as mean and aggressive as a TIE Interceptor should look, and up close towards the back of them, there's lots of very nice detail, and one thing I really appreciate is that, as you can see here, they're connected by hinges, which is very nice because they come on and off very easily, when in the past, some of the TIE Fighter wing designs have been very complex and complicated for no reason. The way it sits on the stand is very simple. You can easily just lift it up, and this is what the bottom of it looks like. There's just a hole for the stand to go into. And speaking of the stand itself, like all recent UCS sets, is very minimal and looks great. On the front, you're going to have the plaque that you can pause and read if you want, but actually diving into the plaque, I'm sure you've seen on other people's videos that it's actually sort of glossy now and not really the same as the previous printed UCS plaques. And I have to say, yeah, like other people, I don't really like it either. I don't like how reflective it is because it creates pretty bad glares, and mine's not very dirty because I wiped it off, but yeah, it does get fingerprints very, very easily. Here it is compared to the Venator plaque, and I think the Venator plaque looks a lot cleaner and a lot better, and it doesn't get dirty with fingerprints either. Like you'd expect, yes, the TIE Pilot does have a place to sit on the stand and it looks good, but what doesn't look good is how you're supposed to sit the mouse droid and the 25th anniversary brick on the stand as well. To me at least, it just makes the whole front of the stand look very crowded, and I don't like all of that on there. I think it looks best to just display it with the pilot on the stand and then have the 25th anniversary bricks sit off to the side and then just leave the mouse droid out. Hence why I said earlier, I think it's just kind of unnecessary. Now here's what I'm sure some of you guys have been waiting for, which is the comparison of the TIE Interceptor to the X-Wing from last year. And first of all, I have to say, they look absolutely incredible when they are on display next to each other. It is such an incredible combo, although I really can't objectively figure out which one is better. I personally favor the X-Wing just a little bit more because I think they did a better job on the shaping than they did with the TIE Interceptor, obviously, how I mentioned with the pylons and everything. But objectively, they're both very, very good sets, and if you want a good UCS set and don't want to spend $600, $700, $800 on the big ones, both of these are great options, although there is actually one thing the X-Wing has over the TIE Interceptor, for me at least, and that's that it can actually fit on its stand at different angles, and you can put it sideways to where it looks like it's swooping down low to the ground, and I think that's absolutely incredible. I love displaying it on its side like this. It looks so good, and the TIE Interceptor can't really do this. It can sort of sit on the side of its stand, as you can see here, although it's not really made to because this bottom wing will sort of budge up to the bottom of the stand and on the ground, so really you're not supposed to do this. It works better with the X-Wing, but you can do it with this set if you want to. But still, they're both incredible sets, only a $10 difference. If you want a $200 UCS set or a cheaper UCS set in general, I would heavily recommend either one of these. I guess it just comes down to if you'd rather have an Imperial set or a Rebel set. But back to just the TIE Interceptor itself, like I said, for the most part, it looks great. My only problem is just the wing pylons being too tall and how the cockpit just looks like one big blob when it's not supposed to, and not to mention the ridiculous amount of stickers on the inside of the cockpit. But the shaping and detailing of the wings really does kind of make up for that, and I also think $230 in today's world is a great deal for this set. So because of that, I'm feeling an 8.7 out of 10. I really wanted to give it a 9 out of 10, but it just didn't feel right because of the wing pylons, so I'm bumping it down to 8.7, which is still in the end a very good rating. So let me know what you guys think about this set down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the screen right now.